Just here for an unboxing of a deck that's not new, but I kept forgetting to get it. But anyway, I got the Numinous Tarot. I don't know if it's gonna be like a future birthday present. Like, my birthday is, well, tomorrow's the last day of August. So yeah, still though, I basically, a month and a half to my birthday. I don't know if it'll be a birthday present, Christmas present, or if I'm just gonna pay Mom back, or what's gonna happen, especially since, yeah, anyway, basically what happened, why I hadn't gotten this deck yet was, I, like, didn't find out about the Kickstarter till, like, right after it ended, and then I was like, I'll wait till it comes out. And then it did come out, and if I remember correctly, I didn't have the money to buy it, so I was like, okay, this is going on my to-get list. And I don't really keep, like, a to-get list anymore. I just bookmark stuff, because there's some things on my old to-get list that I don't really want anymore. There's, like, you know, like, just I just have to be in the mood, like, I have to feel like I need to get that deck at that time, and there's a lot of different decks that I like, so yeah, then finally, I got reminded of it, and I was like, oh, shit, yeah, like, Numinous Tarot, I've been wanting that deck, I completely forgot about it, which is not the first time I've forgotten about a deck. There's been some times I forget about a deck, and then I miss out, just because I don't have the best memory, but I forgot about it. And it was actually tabbed. I wanted to get it, like, next, like, when I got, when I, paid my mom back what I ordered, and then save up some money, that's what I was gonna get. Yeah, so, But then I got the email notification how there's only, it's either 46 or 64, I can't remember the number, decks left, and they were probably going to sell out in like 3 or 4 weeks, and I'm like, oh shit, man, like, you know, so I was over at my nana's, and I texted my mom, like, can I go ahead and order this deck for, like, I don't know, a present for the future, since I had been ordering some presents. We were kind of, like, me and my brother in charge of, like, ordering, like, our like, birthday presents and stuff, because then otherwise, like, we would get things that we don't want, and most things we want are online, so, like, we're in charge of just ordering what we want. They're like, okay, you can spend this much money, and that's it, so I'd already ordered a few things because they only had one of. But anyway, I'm like texting Mom. I'm like, or I could even like pay you back or something. They're probably gonna sell out in 3 or 4 weeks tops. And Mom's like, okay, you know. So then later that night, after Mom went to sleep, because it was late, she was only up for probably like an hour and a half, 2 hours since I'd gotten home. And then I was talking to my brother, and I'm like, oh, let me go order that deck. And then the next morning, I was like, oh, by the way, I ordered that deck. And Mom's like, you ordered the deck? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I was asking for. She's like, I thought you were asking me if I could order it for you. And I'm like, no, why would I do that? I never text Mom saying, hey, could you order this for me? I'm always asking, can I do it? Like, the only time I've done that was, I think one time to renew my Hustler account, I went ahead and had Mom do it. Since it was just a simple, and it didn't really cost anything much anyway. Since it was just renew, I didn't get like the shirt or anything. I only did that once, and I specifically said, hey, could you renew my Hustler for me? Like, I'll give you my password, you know? But she thought I meant... So, there's actually another box, out there, so... my brother likes the art, so if he wants it, we're gonna give it to him. Otherwise, we'll have, like, an extra deck. So I don't really know what's gonna happen if Andy does accept it. I already know he's got like all of his birthday presents picked out. Unless he wants it for like Christmas or something, but I don't know. But knowing Mom, she's not home yet. She's still at work. I think she gets off at like 1:15, so like in 2 minutes, so probably not too much longer. Yeah, I already know. She's let me open up decks and do unboxings, even though I wasn't getting the decks till Christmas. I already know she's gonna let me. She'd be like, yeah, like, actually she's literally done it, where like, for instance, I got, the deck I ordered for the, birthday present, so there was only 5 copies left, and I got it in the mail, and Mom was like, are you gonna do an unboxing of it? And I was like, I'm not in the mood. So she's that kind of person. You know, she watches tarot videos and unboxings and all, like, literally, like, everyone I follow and watch, she does too, so. Anyway, I am opening it, and I feel like this is the easiest to open box I've ever opened. Ooh, here it is, and bubble wrap. There's a little print of the full card, which I have actually seen what all the cards look like. And thank you so much, and that's so pretty. I know when I ordered Mom, I know Mom was like, man, I wonder what they're thinking, like 2 decks, like one set in Mom's name with different payment than the one that I used, and one set in my name, but it was to the same exact P.O. box. I was like, I wonder what they're thinking. I'm like, well, I mean, like, they probably just think 2 people from the same household want the deck and they're both paying it themselves. Like, but yeah, here it is. It's so pretty, and that's the Lover's card. I freaking love this Lover's card. I don't, I'm gonna butcher this last name, but it's by Noel Arthur Heimpel? I'm really bad. I can't remember. I watched a video like the other day where someone pronounced it, and I was like, and I don't remember it. I'm really bad with names, but I do know it's Noel, and obviously Arthur. And then of course they are non-binary and use they them pronouns, which usually I say they them pronouns anyway because that's the polite thing to do. If you don't know someone's gender and just know their name, you're supposed to use they them pronouns anyway. I even have my friend. Well, I know there was like some stuff where I was like, are they still using they them pronouns? I don't even know what's going on, but like I still go ahead and do, since sometimes my brother talks to them more. So sometimes Andy will, sometimes it'll be like feminine pronouns, and I'm all like, I don't even know, man. But like, at least with they them, you're pretty much always being polite. The only way you wouldn't be polite by using they them is if like you were talking to me and I already told you that I don't go by they them. Like, I had a bad experience with they them pronouns and when I was on campus. So like, I don't want they them pronouns used for me. I go by she, her, or he, him. Like, it just yeah, it wasn't the best experience. So obviously I'm gonna be polite and say it for everyone else, but I'm all like, nah, don't use it for me. Like, use the gendered ones, even though like I have no gender. You know. But yeah, anyway, I got out of the plastic wrap. So it's a vibrant magical deck and guidebook for everyone. The Numinous Tarot is a 79 card deck and 126 page guidebook written for beginners of all levels, including beginners. Both the deck and guidebook feature gender neutral language, taking tarot beyond binary thinking and into a full spectrum of representation. Detailed watercolor illustrations bring to life a mystical exploration of the stories we tell about ourselves and our lives. Expressive and emotional, this deck will guide you through whatever path you walk during this lifetime. And I think it's very kind of cool to have like like names and stuff that are not gendered. I need this side. One side of the box doesn't want to come up. Come on. There you go. I know for me, I have made a tarot deck for myself for my favorite band, and that deck had a lot of like literally the one of the is it two? I'm trying to remember. Well, I mean the one's a zombie. And then another one's just a silhouette. I think I just made them cis, but literally one suit isn't the whole suit follows a non-binary character. There's obviously like characters with the pages, like literally none of the pages are cis. Then obviously the one king is of course the non-binary character. I'm very much on like the stance where like the older titles don't bother me as long as you're not using that as like, oh, well, the Empress has to be a girl. The Emperor has to be a guy. You know, the High Priestess has to be a girl. The Queens have to all be girls. The Kings have to all be guys. That, like, to me, that doesn't really bother me. Because in my mind, like, the only thing, like, I find could not be good about that is, like, the whole, like, because it's a feudal system, so, like classism and stuff, but like actual like gender stuff, I feel like literally like in this day and age we can see, I mean literally there were women that were kings. It wasn't like common, but it did happen. And then nowadays you could watch like fantasy movies and stuff, there's like girl knights, there's like girls ruling, like it, to me it's like why can't they use like a gender title if they really want to, and it's like gendered towards the other one, like do whatever you want to do, man. So like when I made my deck, I just stuck to the that and like I don't know if I'd be able to like figure out words for it. I think the only system that like bothers me is the other common one with the daughter, son, mother, father, because whenever I see that, it comes off as like really sexist, because the king, when I read him, he's kind of like the master of the suit. So, like, having the father be the master and the queens, to me, are nurturers of whatever the suit is, and then, like, have the mothers be the nurturers, it's very, old-style family-based, kind of comes off as sexist. I mean, that's just how I read the card, so, like, it bothers me when I read it, but that's the only one that I don't like. But, yeah, that's just kind of, like, my opinion on it, but, you know, like, anyone can do whatever they want, you know? I already know my next deck will, and that one, the queens, the knights, and the kings are going with the gendered names, but that's because they're specific characters. It's based off like a book, so the kings are of course all the one character. The queens, I'm giving to all of the one character. So, like, there's 4 different versions of the character for each suit. So, like, that's just kind of how the deck's set up. Yeah, anyway, here's the book. I just, like, went on, like, a little, like, oh, well, this is, you know, I figured that I'd probably end up, like, bringing that up just because, like, you know, like, I'm not cis. I don't even have a gender, you know, so it's just, like, I don't know, like, I feel like the opinion it becomes more interesting when, like, people are, like, not cis, like, maybe they're, like, trans or non-binary or, like, agender. Since not everyone that's agender, like, identifies as trans or non-binary. Like, I don't identify as either, just agender, because I don't have a gender. Yeah, anyway, the book. I see it got a little bit bent on the side, but, like, I really do not care. Yeah, it's so pretty, and that's the hanged one. And can I say I love the backs? This is the back of the card, too. It's so freaking pretty. The book is entirely in black and white, but you get pictures. So the majors have 2 pages dedicated to them. The minors have 1 page dedicated to them. The courts also have 1 page dedicated to them. And then there, of course, there is, let's see how many spreads is that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spreads. There's the bell spread for clarity, the tome spread for making plans and goals, the candle spread for inspiration and creativity, the vial spread for two-person relationships of all kinds, which I very much like the of all kinds. It's always annoying when you're doing like a reading for yourself. Like there was I can't remember which one it was. I remember I was doing one of the ones from the 365 Tarot Spreads book, and I was doing it with my, I think that one I just did with my brother, and then we had Mom do it the next day. And I remember there was one where it was like sexual needs or something, and I'm like, well, I wonder what the deck's gonna say here. And I think it literally was like, nah. And I was like, exactly, no. Of course, like, literally, I'm really not surprised that there's a spread like this anyway, because, the creator is not just non-binary, they are also gray romantic demisexual. If I remember correctly from the Twitter. I was like, I'm gonna follow them on Twitter, and I was like, on the aromantic spectrum and the asexual spectrum? Yo! Yes! Because, you know, that's my part of the community. Both parts of the community, you know? Like, I like see, it's always like, you know, when, someone's literally, like, also on the aro or ace spectrum, like you are, you know. I'm on the one full side of the spectrum because I'm aromantic asexual, but they're on that spectrum there. They're part of, like, the ace and aro community because, like, they're all, yes, like, come in for the hugs. But yeah, a lot of blogs I follow are, ace aro blogs, and of course the whole ace aro spectrums. But I was like, like, maybe that's why I get that feeling from this deck, you know? And then I read their entire, comic, the, Ignition Zero, which I've actually seen, I've read some, like, online comics, like, web comics. I don't read them often, because usually I'll bookmark them and then forget about them. Like I said, I don't have the best memory. But, yeah, I actually have seen the epilogue. I swear I saw some of the snowball fight part on Tumblr before. Like, I think either earlier this year, maybe, or the end of last year. I swear I saw it on Tumblr, because I recognized it. But, like, I read the entire thing, in one sitting, me laying in bed. I was supposed to be sleeping because I had to get up early the next day. But I was like, one more page, one more page. One more page, you know, and, like, I highly recommend it, but, yeah, and then the last spread is Universal Messages spread, which is, for when you don't have a question, messages the universe currently has for you, the current, things to think about. Then there is reading for yourself and others. There's a bit on reading reversals, because the book has reversals, and, as well. Oh, there's key themes for the, and like other things for the suits, which in this deck the bells are swords, the candles are wands, the tomes are pentacles, and the vials are cups. What else is there? There is, things about just court cards in general, so the journey through the court cards, because you have the dreamers, which are the pages, the explorers, which are the knights, the creators, which are the queens, and the mystics, which are the kings. Which, I'll definitely read this part, because when I see the queens, I think of nurturers. That's just kind of like how I kind of learned to read it. I think specifically I learned that from the Steampunk Tarot book by Barbara Moore. So I always kind of see them as, like, nurturing that aspect. So, it'll be interesting to see them and read them as creators. Because mystics I can get explorers for knights, literally. That's literally how I see the knights. And the dreamers for pages, I specifically see the page of cups as, like, the daydreamer, you know? So, like, that works completely fine. There's some on the Fool's Journey and Journeys. Interpreting the cards, laying out the cards, known on fortune telling, shuffling, questions and intent. So like that's all under how to do reading. Tarot structure, and that's all a part the how to read tarot. And then there's a about this deck. Oh, there's actually a little thing about the usage of they as a singular pronoun. Because literally people will be like, that's not English language. And it's like, you know what? It might not be proper language, but you know what? Literally, it's been used for hundreds of years. I can't remember who it was. I think I had an argument about it with someone. I know my one teacher literally, like, knocked points off, and I was so pissed off. I was like, if they do it again, I'm gonna freaking send them a letter, because, I'm gonna send them a letter. No, I'm gonna send them an email, because literally, like, the dictionary tells otherwise, instructor. And then, yeah, so I am excited. Oh, and then just obviously, like with the suits and the courts, some of the other ones that are usually gendered by name don't are named different. But yeah. Anyway, I already know the cards are not in order. I don't feel like putting the... You know what, like, there's only 7 minutes left for this video time anyway. I can't get this... Oh, there we go, there we go. Come on, there we go. I already know, I think the box is so freaking pretty, but I'm not going to keep the deck in the box. Oh, I need a bag for this deck. It might borrow one of my other ones, because sewing machine's broke right now, so I have to make some more. So I'll probably let it borrow another pretty bag. Whenever I get the deck. By then my sewing machine might actually be fixed. But yeah, I have to pause this anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the deck in order, so I'll do that, so be right back. I know, these cards actually are kind of in order, just like the core cards were all together, and then the order was actually by its number, so then it went the Fool, and the Aces, and like the Magician, and then like it went to like the Twos, and the Diviner, I think, was the name of the High Priestess in this deck. So they're kind of in order, so I'm going to show them, just not in your typical, usual order, just now that they're going by order of, like, numbers, because then I can kind of, like, put the cards and, like, separate them, and it'll just be a lot easier. Yeah, okay, so we've got the... Which, I was looking at some of the backs. It's the kind of gilding it is. It kind of comes off. It's got, like, some bits on the edge of the cards, and some of them are a bit... Is that my phone? Oh, that was my phone. Okay, that was just about Pathfinder. Some of the cards have, like, some of the gilding, like, sticking up. It kind of makes me think of when I got... Oh, I'm getting glitter all on my head, but that's expected. It kind of makes me think of when I got my Dreams of Gaia. Mine was really bad like that. And I ended up trimming all the gilding off. This might be okay. I'll have to look at it more. But I see a lot of corners are just kind of like sticking up. I'll show them once I'm done showing the cards, because the cards are freaking gorgeous though. I know we'll probably open the other copy and just see how that is too. But anyway, so we're starting off with... Oh, why did I put the 4 over there? 4 should be there. Is that the only one I accidentally put? There we go. Okay. So we're starting off with the courts. So we have the Dreamers, which are the pages in this deck. So the Dreamer of Vials. I'll put that right there. We go. The Dreamer of Tomes, which I love the Tomes suit in this deck from what I've seen. Like, it's just, I usually am kind of about like the Pentacle suit in decks. My favorite's always the Swords, then usually the Cups, then the Pentacles are okay, and then the Wands are, you know. Wands were always the hardest for me. It's harder for me to like connect and kind of like get. But like having them as tomes and like library theme, I'm all aboard. So I know this one is so freaking pretty, the Dreamer of Candles. Then the Dreamer of Bells. I don't know why, but like just having like a bell and someone ringing it, it kind of makes me think of my favorite movie ever. Which is The Hunchback of Notre Dame, like the Disney one. I grew up watching that. That's like my favorite movie ever. Cause Quasi's like my favorite character, like in a movie. Oh, but yeah, like it's so nice. And then we have the Explorers, which are the Knights. It's the Explorer of Vials, the Explorer of Tomes, which I love it. I think I love all. I'm probably gonna love all the tomes in this deck. The Explorer of Candles, and the Explorer of Bells. Which I love the expressions on the faces. It's so pretty. I know this one I think is absolutely gorgeous. And we're into the creators, which are usually called Queens in decks. So we have the Creator of Vials, Creator of Tomes, the Creator of Candles, the Creator of Bells. And then we have the Mystics, which are usually the kings in the deck. So the Mystic of Candles, the Mystic of Bells, the Mystic of Tomes, and the Mystic of Vials. Okay, so I was starting to separate the cards into the minors and the majors, but I'm going to just go ahead and go through them. And then I drop all the majors. You can't have a video with me without me dropping something, I swear. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of do them by order, because that's how they're like put here, and like to me that's basically like an order, so it's fine by me. Okay, so for 0 it's the Fool, of course. Which, like, when I saw this, which my Nana, I was showing her some of the cards, and she was like, "Oh, that's such a pretty card." And I was like, I love it because it's the Fool. It's like the start, you know, and like it's got a rainbow, and I was like, yes. Okay, so we've got ones. So we've got the Magician, which this is a great looking magician. I love it. Okay, so the Aces, the Ace of Bells, the Ace of Candles, the Ace of Tomes, and the Ace of Vials. Okay, now we're going to get to 2. So instead of the High Priestess, it's the Diviner, which this is such a gorgeous card. I love it. And High Priestess, I do really like the change for this one especially. Because like I said, like for me it's very much like, as long as you're not really like using that as an excuse to have everything actually gendered, it doesn't really bother me. But like, again, I'm an agender person that actually goes by gendered pronouns, so you know, this is just how I am. Like, literally, oh, I know one of the other things that would annoy me when it comes to saying they, them instead is, I know I've looked through trying to find some specific fan fiction of this certain app, and I saw some people were using they, them pronouns for this one non-binary character when literally, like, in the game and the creators have said that he goes by, like, he, him pronouns. Because, like, the one creator, I think the main one, literally is, like, non-binary and goes by gendered pronouns. So, like, Avi, like, they know what they're talking about. And, like, people will, like, change it in fan fictions and, like, make it they, them. And it's, like, gotta use whatever pronouns the person tells you to use, my man. Like, you know? But yeah, this one specifically I really like because it's a card that this could be probably, like, my favorite, like, High Priestess card, because usually I'm not that into the High Priestess. I like a lot of, like, pictures of her, because usually it's a her in decks, but, I always feel like I relate more to the Magician, and the Magician feels more like a card that I could relate to. Like, out of the two, it's me. But in this deck, like, I literally can see myself in both. And, like, literally on my Tumblr for the description, I, like, specifically say Diviner. So, like, literally, like, having the Diviner as the High Priestess instead, like, it's actually one that I can actually relate to. So, like, gosh darn it, I really like that change. Okay, so we have the twos. So we have the Two of Bells, the Two of Candles, the Two of Tomes, and the Two of Vials, which I think that's a great card. I don't think you can see it, but, like, the bottles that they're holding, the vials themselves, one say fins and the other say legs. Okay, so now the three. So we have the Nurturer instead of the Empress, which the way I read the Empress, that works just fine. Nurturing specifically, I actually usually associate with the Queens, not the Empress. But it's fine. Like, literally, like, I love the Cosmos Tarot, and that one literally doesn't follow, like, the traditional tarot system anyway. So, like, it's fine. Usually when I think of the Empress, for me, it's more so beauty, kind of like some creativity, but mostly it's like a beauty kind of thing, you know, like nurturing usually, and more of the motherly associations that people put on the Empress to me is more of the Mother of Pentacles. But, you know, that's just how I read. But, like, this is such a pretty card though too. Love it. Okay, so we have the three. So the Three of Bells, the Three of Candles, the Three of Tomes, and the Three of Vials. Okay, so four, instead of the Emperor, it's the Founder. Which, that one's completely fine by me. That one even, like, could go with, like, just, and, like, when I see, kind of like with the Empress, for me, it's more of, like, the beauty, kind of like the abundance, the beauty. For the Emperor, for me, it's all about stability. So, I don't necessarily see them as, like last night I was ranting about the whole, like, this one book with their one section. It's like, oh, well, you can't see the cards and their associations without seeing without the masculine and feminine in them. And I'm like, what you talking about? Like, I don't see the Emperor as, like, masculine at all. He's just all about stability, my man. Like, you know, but, like, that's just how I read it. I can see it without it. Also, like, for the Sun and the Moon, like, being, like, gendered, like, I didn't even think of that as an example, especially considering I don't see those completing each other, because I always think of the star, the moon, and the sun as being, like, a nice trio. Nice trio of, like, spaceness. Okay, where was I anyway? Oh, the fours. So the Four of Bells, the Four of Candles, the Four of Tomes, and the Four of Vials. Okay, so next we have the fives. See, the cards are kind of sticking because of the... That's just on the gilding. The actual, like, cardstock itself's nice. Okay. So I think I was doing majors first. So the Visionary, so the Hierophant, which is going to be interesting. I'll read the reversed meaning in the book, because the only thing I can think of it being harder for me to read is more of the shadow side of the Hierophant, which obviously is like conformity and stuff. So it's interesting to see, I guess, Visionary and seeing like the darker aspects of how that's interpreted. So you have the Five of Bells, the Five of Candles, Five of Tomes, and the Five of Vials. Okay, so we have the sixes. Okay, so we have the Lovers, which I freaking love this Lovers card. Like, it's so annoying seeing, like, romance or sexual stuff for, like, the Lovers. It's always so annoying. And then, of course, they're usually, like, cis straight people, too. You know? And it's just something I really cannot relate to. Especially since I usually see the card, closer, I guess, to the more Marseille meaning with it as choice, and partnership. The first time I ever actually got, like, an actual tarot reading, it was basically the reading that told me you should get into tarot. But for that one, when the Lovers was pulled, it did not have anything to do with, like, romance or sex. It literally was, like, business, like, partnership. So, like, it's just, that's very much ingrained in my mind. Also, I really don't like the idea of, oh, it has to be romantic or sexual. Like, not everyone is, you know, and this one is just freaking, it's freaking gorgeous, you know, I love it. I know, I'm trying to think, I feel like the Prismavision's probably still my favorite, but that also was, like, my first, like, experience, and one of the only other decks that I have for, like, the Lovers is, like, freaking perfect. The Ostara is also very similar, but I got Prismavisions first, so. In the Prismavisions, it is two people dancing, and there actually is a same-sex couple in the background if you look. But it's not really a romance or a sexual kind of thing. It's dancing, which is perfect for partnership and, like, choosing to dance with a person. It works so well, and it's nice having, like, people that aren't like, oh, I'm gonna kiss ya. Especially since I see more of the Two of Cups being that anyway. Okay, so we have the Six of Bells, the Six of Candles, the Six of Tomes, the Six of Vials. Okay, now we have the sevens. We have the Chariot, which I know, like, the Chariot, when I saw it, like, in a video, it very much makes me think of, like, just the color choice. Like, the whole thing, I'm like, lesbians. Because the colors make me think of, like, the lesbian flag, which is, oh, what is it? I know a lot of, it's more of, like, a newer online thing with the lesbian flag. I know a lot of people still outside will use the rainbow flag. It is, I can't remember the name of it. It's the one with the kiss lips. that got taken off, and so it's just like the colors. And like if you go like on Tumblr or something and you see like lesbian blogs, like that's the flag. And the colors, that's what it makes me think of. And it does have rainbows in the background too, so I was like, this is, I like it, it's nice. Okay, so I was like gonna pull the like, no, it's the minor says right here. So the 7 of bells, the 7 of candles, which like I saw this because I looked at the video for the cards after I had watched the after I read the comic, and like this bit made me think of I don't know why, because it's because it's the same creator, and it's still like, because it's like a runway kind of thing. It makes me think back to like in the one chapter where they go to a drag show. That was a fun bit. That literally, that webcomic was really good. Like I literally was like, Des, why haven't you read this sooner? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I've disappointed myself. There's a lot of webcomics I really need to read. I think there was only 2 that that was only the 3rd one that I've actually read. There was one that I read. I know you can actually read it on, I think the app's called Webtoons. I read it online. I don't remember the name of it, but I have the app right here. Yeah, I know it's on this app. It's also online. What's the name of it? I put it in for my Webtoons just so I could remember it. Oh, Under the Aegis. That one was really good. It was under a list of comics that included asexual characters, aromantic characters, like and so that's why I read that one. I was like, really like that one too. It was good. Okay, so 7 of tomes. I literally love the tome suit so much in this deck though. Kind of makes me think of like during the what was it, 3 years? I didn't do my freshman year. I think it was half of sophomore year, and then I know junior and senior year I actually worked in a library during my free period because they didn't let us have a free period at my school. I know some schools will have, you know, like you can take free periods so you can just do your work and stuff, which you basically got if there was no classes you wanted to take during that time. But see, the school didn't actually want you to have one, and so they would encourage and basically kind of force everyone to work for a teacher one of the periods. So I went to help the library. And it was very annoying the one time my senior year because the library at one point was closed off and you had to go to where your study hall was. And so I go there, you know, because I can't go in the library, they're doing testing. And I'm like, okay, you know, and I'm waiting out, the door's locked though, and I'm like, crap, what am I gonna do? And so like the bell's ringing, and I'm like, pretty much no one's standing there, and the one teacher's kind of like, hey, like, you know, why are you there? And I had him a few years before that for like a computers class, and I was like, well, I work in the library, and the library's closed because they're doing testing. It said to go back to your study hall, and the study hall I was originally assigned to was this one. They're like, oh yeah, there's no kids in that study hall, so like, it doesn't exist anymore. And I'm like, well, that's nice. And he's like, why don't you just stay in my classroom then? So I just kind of sat in the classroom and just kind of like, was I writing? I was either writing, drawing, or reading. I don't think I was reading. I think I was writing or drawing. And so he was making jokes like, oh, Des probably knows this stuff, you know, because it was math. And I think it was a freshman class, and I was like, yeah, I know that. Anyway, the 7 of vials. But yeah, the tomes I can relate to. Okay, so we have the 8s. So we have good old strength. I love the strength card. I just love the strength card in general, but the strength's so freaking... The artwork's so freaking pretty. Okay, so we have the 8 of bells. The 8 of candles, which was that print with the thank you on the back that I got. Which I wonder if it's the same for everyone for these two, or if the deck that Mom ordered for me is the same or not. So we have the Eight of Tomes, which I know as soon as I saw that card, I can't, like, it's just, I think that's just a large birthmark, but it makes me think of, I cannot remember the name of that condition. I can't remember, but if you look up, like, stuff for, like, The Sims 4, they're probably some of the most popular sim mods out there. I cannot remember it, but that's what it kind of made me think of, and I was like that's something I don't see. Even just like larger birthmarks, like people have larger birthmarks. I know specifically how this one is kind of makes me think of that one BuzzFeed video I watched, because the girl always covers it up because, like, obviously, like, people are just gonna judge, you know, so it just kind of made me think of all of that. Which the corner on that one's a little bit bent. Yeah, I'll try to show it on camera afterwards. I mean, these ones, like I said, aren't as bad as my terrible Dreams of Gaia copy I got. Which, because it wasn't just that, literally the deck smelled like chemicals. Oh, it was terrible. I had to, like, I just waved all the cards under incense and just got it smelling like smoke, because it's the only way to get rid of the scent. So, and then the Eight of Vials. So we have the Nines. And on the deck, not just for stuff like that, but like literally, as you'll see here, with different like cultures and like different ages, and it's all around inclusive, and I freaking love that. The Hermit. I didn't have like a deck that was like this inclusive, so like that's why I was like, Des, why did you forget you need to have this deck? And I was like, I'm so mad at myself. The Nine of Bells. I love that one. I always like the Nine of Swords in deck, so Nine of Candles. Nine of Tomes. Nine of Vials. Camera died. Of course it did. I let the camera charge for a little bit though. So it should be fine. Should be fine for just to finish off, since I was almost done showing the cards anyway. So, did I show off? No, I didn't show off. Okay, so here's the Wheel of Fortune. The Ten of Bells. Ten of Candles. Ten of Tomes. And like all these tens, I really like the tens in this deck, so. Ten of Vials. And we have, the rest are just the majors now, so. Justice. The Hanged One. Death. Which this one kind of makes me think a little bit of the one character actually in Ignition Zero. Specifically like with how the side eyes are. Like there, those ones. And then also the fact that it's the Death card, like, just makes it like Temperance. The Shadow, which I love, like this would be the Devil. I love this card. It's freaking perf. The Tower. And for the next one, we went ahead and like opened just because I was curious to see if like the prints with the thank you on the back were the same, because that was mine. We opened up like my brother's copy, and he actually got the Star, which is kind of perf for him because the Star is one of his favorite cards, I know. And I really like the Star card. So you have the Moon. the Sun, Awakening, instead of Judgment, and then the World. Which, like, honestly, I think this is the only card in the deck that I'm not really into, but literally that's just me. And, like, there's always gonna be, like, one or two cards, you know, like, not every single deck's perfect, except for the Justice League Tarot. And then it has one extra card, which is the Numinous. Which I'm going to go ahead and look that one up. So the keywords are mystery, magic, beautiful, capital B, and liminality. I'm really bad at reading sometimes. So it's like when mysterious forces are at play. So nice. But yeah. Still don't know if it's gonna be a birthday or a Christmas present, or if I'm just gonna give Mom the money for it, or what. She doesn't know either, because we don't know if Andy wants to just get it, or like if he wants it as like a present or something. So it's kind of gonna be a little bit on him, and then a little bit on Mom if she's like fine with if I should have it now or later. We don't know. There's a little bit gilding chip there, but like honestly, like I literally don't care. I know it was on the Numinous. You can see a little bit of like some of damage. I don't think you can actually see it in the video. Like it doesn't really bother me. I even showed Mom, and she's like, well, literally just corners getting bent, gilding coming off. It's gonna happen with the deck anyway. It's gilded. And I was like, yeah, I don't care. Like it doesn't really bother me. Dreams of Gaia was really bad. Like it was sticking up. Like cards were getting stuck on each other because it was sticking up so much. This isn't too bad. I have yet to open the other copies, obviously, my brothers. We haven't opened it up just to see how bad it is. But I was shuffling it out there, and like it shuffles perfectly. Oh, and then anyway, these are the backs. Which, can I say, like the first time I saw these backs, my initial thought was trans Sailor Moon. Because how the moon is with the dots, just with the big dot, it makes me think of Sailor Moon's One Wand. And then, of course, like the actual color palette makes me think of the trans flag. Because the blue, the pink, and then there's a little bit here that's lighter, almost like white. And then, you know, like the pink blue again. So I know that's actually one of the things my brother does not actually like about the deck. He doesn't like the backs, because he feels like they don't match the actual artwork. But, I feel like they look just fine with it. I think maybe it's because that's so light, where the colors in the deck are so rich, I guess, is maybe why he doesn't care for it. I think it looks fine. I think the backs are freaking pretty. I showed it to my Nana, and she's like, those backs are pretty. And I'm like, aren't they? But, anyway, that was an unboxing and a flip through, and just like, it's kind of just my... No idea why my screen went dark for a sec. And just kind of like my thoughts, like when it comes to even like gendered stuff. I mean, honestly, at this point, I'm almost thinking about making like a, should I put that plastic? Where did I put that? I'm gonna put that plastic thing back on if I can fit it on. I'm almost thinking about making like a rant / me talking about stuff like that, for a video. I did like. Back when I first started this channel, it was just hard for me to like try to say what I mean, so I'm thinking about maybe just having like a full-on kind of thing, because like I don't know, like there's one person and I was watching her videos for like a bit, but then like going back I saw she liked this one book and I was like, ew, no. And then just the comments, I didn't even watch the video, like just reading the comments was like kind of coming to the defense of this book, and I was like, ew, no. I can't get the plastic from that. It's fine, I'll just put the deck in. And so I was thinking about even just talking about that, because, like, you know. yeah, since I know stuff like that I don't see on YouTube as much as I see as stuff like on Tumblr. And I'm not saying like Tumblr's the best thing in the freaking world. It is not the best thing in the freaking world. If anything, Tumblr usually goes to the offense like way too much. Way too there needs to at least be like some talk and like explanation on certain things. Tumblr just kind of jumps at people's throats, which is really not good. Obviously, my Libra side's like, aw, man, like, really? I can't get the book back in the box. Of course I can't. Yeah, that's what I thought. Because I couldn't get the plastic thing back on, so the cards aren't staying in the big old plastic thing. I don't wanna hurt the cards. I guess I'll just leave it out of the box for now while I take it out there. Andy's not home. He's going to a concert today, so if anything, Mom will at least let me do an interview with his deck anyway. What was I gonna say? But yeah. Oh, I was saying Tumblr's not the best thing ever. Tumblr is very much either yay or so there is no in between. But yeah, anyway, I need to mow the lawn and get paid $10. Not really. My game subscription was out, so that's just gonna get given to Nana anyway, so I'll be like, keep the 10. I already 10 for my game subscription anyway. Because we use her card for my game subscription, so every month I just go ahead and I just give her like the money, or lately I've just been like, I've had to mow the lawn anyway and get paid, so I give her like that for it. So yeah, anyway, that was the Numinous Tarot, which is a freaking gorgeous book. So excited for when I get to read with it. Before I do the lawn, I'm gonna try to get an interview in. But anyway, yeah, so that was that. And I'm Des from Aro-Tarot, and I'm logging off, so bye.